Hello viewer, welcome to the YouTube channel FahadYounas. Today I will discuss the topic transport of oxygen and its types, a vital physiological process. The different types of oxygen transportation in the body. Oxygen is the key to life. Anonymous author. Four types of oxygen transport. Hemoglobin is the most common form. Two types, dissolved and bound oxygen. Three factors affecting transport: acidity, carbon dioxide, and temperature all impact transport. Transport of oxygen, key types: diffusion. Oxygen passively moves from high concentration to low. Oxyhemoglobin. Oxygen travels attached to hemoglobin in red blood cells. Carbamonohemoglobin. Carbon dioxide carried by hemoglobin in red blood cells. Cellular respiration. Cellular process by which oxygen is used by cells. Timeline of oxygen transport milestones. Point 1. 1700 Understanding oxygen transport. In the late 1700s, scientists discovered that oxygen is transported from the lungs to other parts of the body through the bloodstream. Point 2. 1900 Discovery of hemoglobin. In the early 1900s, hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen in red blood cells, was discovered. Point 3. Present day oxygen therapy. Today, oxygen therapy is widely used to treat various conditions, and medical technology continues to advance in the field of oxygen transport. Point 4. 1950s Identification of blood types. In the 1950s, scientists discovered different blood types and how they play a role in oxygen transport. Transport of oxygen and its types. The transport of oxygen in the human body is a critical physiological process that ensures oxygen is delivered to cells and tissues where it is needed for cellular respiration. There are two main types of oxygen transport in the body: external respiration and internal respiration. External respiration, pulmonary ventilation, breathing. The process begins with breathing, where air is inhaled into the lungs and oxygen is taken up by red blood cells in the pulmonary capillaries. Diffusion in the lungs. In the lungs, oxygen diffuses across the thin walls of the alveoli air sacs into the blood, binding to hemoglobin in red blood cells. Transport of oxygen in the blood. Hemoglobin. Oxygen binds to hemoglobin, a protein in red blood cells. Each hemoglobin molecule can bind to four oxygen molecules. This form oxyhemoglobin. Oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. This curve illustrates the relationship between the partial pressure of oxygen in the blood and the secretion of hemoglobin with oxygen. It helps understand how hemoglobin's affinity for oxygen changes under different condition facilitating oxygen release in tissues. Internal respiration, systematic circulation. Oxygenated blood is pumped by the heart into the systematic circulation, reaching various tissues and organs. Capillary exchange. Oxygen diffuses from the blood into the tissues where it is utilized for cellular respiration spontaneously. Carbon dioxide, a waste product of cellular respiration, diffuses into the blood. Types of oxygen transport: dissolved oxygen. A small fraction of oxygen is carried into the plasma in a dissolved state. This is minimal and contributes only a small amount to total oxygen transport. Oxygen bound to hemoglobin. The majority of oxygen is transported bound to hemoglobin. Hemoglobin's ability to bind and release oxygen is influenced by factors such as pH, temperature, and the partial pressure of oxygen. Myoglobin. In muscles, myoglobin are proteins similar to hemoglobin stores oxygen and releases it when needed during periods of increased activity. Regulation of oxygen transport is finally turned to meet the body's demands, adjusting the release of oxygen based on factors like tissue oxygen levels and metabolic activity. This complex system ensures that oxygen is efficiently transported to tissues, and organs throughout the body. Oxygen transportation. Thank you for your attention and time. We appreciate your support for FahadYounas channel. Please consider sharing, liking, and subscribing to our channel. Thank you for sharing and watching my video.